All right, welcome to this Women Wednesday edition of Liquid Lunch on Biz TV. I'm John Tobacco. We're coming today from the Corona bunker as we do every single day, noon to 2 Eastern, live, not just local, around the country on Biz TV, going to 40 million homes, and to our tremendous and ever-growing YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, social media audience. Welcome. Lots to talk about today with the president coming out yesterday and having another press conference where he takes many questions. Joe Biden finally came out of hiding. He didn't leave the state of Delaware, but he did address some reporters. And hey, actually, he took some questions. Can you believe it or not? Took some questions, and an odd thing happened at the end of Joe Biden's press conference. The press applauded him. What are they applauding? The fact that he came out of his house and answered some questions, that he already had the questions given to him? Pretty damn scary. Republicans, Democrats down in Washington duking it out. The stimulus is what everybody's talking about. Hey, I was getting $600 a week. Now I'm only going to get $200 a week. We don't get paid to stay home in America. America was built on hard work. And that's why we're the greatest country ever in history. And you got these crazy maniacs out there, this little fringe group. You got the tail wagging the dog, where protesters think it's okay to say that, oh, we're peaceful protesters. They're not peaceful. What they're really doing is they're loading up with bats and sticks and canes, throwing Molotov cocktails. They're bashing cops. Over 300 cop cars destroyed just in New York. There's $1 million right there. And they're allowed to roam free, close down streets. And right here in New York State, I don't know about you and what your crazy governor's doing out there in your blue state, but right here in New York, you can't order a drink unless you order some food, and then the governor wants to tell you what kind of food you must order to get a drink. My question to you, Cuomo, what kind of food does a protester have to order with a cocktail, a Molotov cocktail? Do they have to order a hamburger if they throw a Molotov cocktail? Do they have to have fries with it? Can they get a bag of chips with it? What does it take to get arrested if you're a protester when bars and restaurants are now being shut down and have their liquor licenses taken away because they're trying to feed their families? Lots of stuff. It's a Woman Wednesday like you haven't seen in a while. I always say, you know, it's a fire-breathing dragon. It's going to be a whopper. Today is a literal whopper of a show. All women, all the time, on the only show on television that I can remember that dedicates one whole day to the week to the woman's perspective. And that doesn't mean we don't have women on other days. Of course we do. All the big tech heads are going to be down in Washington today testifying and talking at a hearing. Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Google, all the big guys are going to be down there talking about, among other things, why Liquid Lunch is banned from advertising on some of the platforms. We are doing great on a lot of the platforms. We're keeping an eye on it every day now and trying to grow it, trying to figure out what's appealing to you guys. If you can remember, if you're watching, one of the things we're learning is engagement with content is big to break through the algorithms. So if you could drop us a like, or a smiley face, or a star if you like what you're hearing. If you don't, put in a comment. Tell us. We're reading the comments in real time. I'm getting feedback. I'm even including viewer feedback in the show whenever I can. And finally, we'll talk about it a little later on, but word trickling out now that Ellen DeGeneres' show may be gone. And I wonder why. Is it because her set looks like the temple on Epstein Island? Or is it because there's bullying and racism going on the set of Ellen? We'll get into all that and more. All the best women entrepreneurs you ever wanted to see and more. Find out how to start a business in the quarantine, how to run a business, how to grow a business, and be successful as a woman entrepreneur. All that coming at you today in Liquid Lunch. Zen Sam's up next. Oh, welcome back. You're watching Liquid Lunch on Biz TV. I'm John Tobacco. Cracking up with a cold one. Taking down these White Claw black cherries like it's my job and trying to stay cool and refreshed on this hot sunny day. Lots of news to talk about, and cooler and refreshing it gets by the minute as we're joined every Wednesday by our regular contributor, Zen Sams, who joins us from New York City today. She did lead me on earlier this week and tell me she was going to be here in person, but we may actually get that together for next week, I believe. Is that right, Zen?
Yeah.
All right, so Zen, you're an actress, you're a model, you're up on all the hip-hop culture, Hollywood crew, cool kids, and all that stuff. Two things I want to ask you. One, what's going on with this black and white challenge, okay, and is that considered racist, in number one? And number two, how come it's only women? How come this is a massive inequality? I haven't seen one person challenge a man to the black and white challenge. What gives here? What's happening? Is this a women's only thing?
Yep. Instagram has been overrun with women, from basically famous celebrities to suburb moms posting this black and white image that you're referring to of themselves with the caption, "Challenge accepted." So celebrities like Gabrielle Union, Kristen Bell, Kerry Washington, all the celebrities we know have accepted the challenge, quote unquote, which seems to involve posting a black and white image of oneself as a show of women empowerment. Now, there's no real obvious social justice bent here other than to encourage women to share photos of themselves where they feel confident. And it basically works like this. Women nominate each other to post a monochrome image of themselves that they presumptively like, and they share their photo, usually with the caption, "Challenge accepted," and the hashtag "women supporting women," and tag other women to post their own. Other celebrities interpreted the challenge as a show of sisterly support. Many more non-famous folks are posting their own challenge accepted photos too. And basically, this phrase has been used over 4 million times on Instagram. But the hashtag, this hashtag keeps creeping up ever so often, because just before this challenge, we had another one where it was to stay at home to help prevent the spread of coronavirus. So this, challenge accepted has been trending often on social media. And this is one of those moments where, it's women staying together, sticking together, not racist, not black, none of the above, no cultural issues here. This is just women pulling together.
So men are excluded, is what you're saying. What if just today I were just identifying as a woman today? Can I get challenged?
Nico and Jess, I want you guys to take a picture of John, add long hair to it and a little bit of lip color, and put it in black and white and let John post it.
Yeah, Ava, why don't you...
would love to have long hair in a picture.
My daughter Victoria did that to me about a week ago. She turned me into a woman with the Womanizer app. And then she asked me if I knew this woman, and I was like, "She looks familiar, but I don't know her." And lo and behold, it was me. So maybe we should post that. Maybe I should identify as Jonna today.
Yeah, for sure. We'll do that.
All right. I've been waiting to see a man on there, like challenge accepted, but
You guys have plenty of challenges. Back off this one. You got lots of challenges. You guys have run corporate America for thousands of years. That's a challenge in and of itself.
All right. How about this? You have been a transcontinental traveler over the last few months. You experienced COVID quarantine both north of the border in Canada and now back here in New York. You have young children. I know you're a great mom and all, but it seems like I think less than 50 people in the whole country have died under the age of 18. And with all this stuff going on, should kids go back to school, it doesn't seem like kids under 10 are even getting sick. What's the mom's point of view on this?
Exactly. So my point of view is I've been researching this often, and I keep up to, every week as data comes in, I refresh and I try to stay at the forefront of the science, because it's important to me that when she goes back to school, I'm well versed on all the data so I can make the proper decision. And there are many hints and even some data showing that children fare better against the virus on a few levels than adults do. First, only 17 children, like you said, under the age of 5 nationwide have died of COVID-19. And this, we pull data, John, when you and I talk about stuff. This is data from the U.S. Centers of Disease Control as of July. So this is, if anybody wants to dispute it, it's there. That's a little under a third the number in that age range who have died of the flu this year. And while, we have this multi-system inflammatory syndrome called, MIS-C, which it affects some children infected with the coronavirus, it's rare and most do recover from it. So look, the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention is recommending that kindergarten through 12 schools reopen this fall, saying that the health risk should be weighed against the detriment of being kept home, which, disproportionately impacts low-income and minority children and those with disabilities who really rely on programs like school lunch and after-school care. And when those children are kept from school, their grades slip, mental and physical health suffers, key times to socialize are lost, and many are falling behind on the routine vaccines. So it's unclear how easily kids can spread the virus from the research that I've done, both to each other and to adults. But here's one study that caught my attention. As nearly 65,000 kids published by the South Korean Center for Disease Control last week showed that children in the 10 to 19-year-old age range could spread COVID-19 within households just as effectively as adults. But younger kids, so say infants to 8 or 9 years old, were 72% less likely to spread the disease to adults. And that's because young children are exposed to new infections all the time. And when their bodies are exposed to a new virus like COVID-19, their immune system may just be more primed to respond strong enough to fight virus and not cause their bodies harm, like, say, people in their 60s or 70s who have inflammatory conditions or who have underlying health issues. So they're more resilient and adaptive, and their immune systems help fend off the disease. Look, in the end, adults need to do their part because kids are at our mercy. This virus is looking for a place to jump from one person to another. That's it. And that's why distancing, masking, and hygiene work. They actually work. If we do these three things, the virus literally has no place to go. So as a mom, I say, take your part, social distance, put your mask on when you can, when you can't really get away from people, and practice proper hygiene, and we will be okay.
You think we'll be okay if everybody keeps their mask on? Now, I had a doctor on yesterday, Dr. Dean Hart. He's a great virologist, microbiologist, and he said that the use of a regular mask, like these regular blue masks, does absolutely nothing at all to protect you from someone else's germs. All it does is catch your germs from going out to someone else.
Right.
So,
exactly.
Why? If in a country based on liberty and personal responsibility, why, if it doesn't help, why should I wear one? If someone else feels nervous, shouldn't they wear one and not stay away from me or stay in your house? I don't feel comfortable wearing it. My nose is sweating, my mouth is sweating, I'm breathing in, I feel like I'm breathing in my own carbon monoxide.
You are, yeah, and it's very uncomfortable. But I think until there is some kind of vaccine, in order for the children to be able to go back effectively, I think the adults need to mask up and let the children, at least school-age children, amongst themselves fight off their germs. But as long as the adults are not giving something to the children, they're vectors of pathogens, and I feel like
think you feel good as a mom. If your kid goes back to school in September and they say, hey, we're going to do a staggered, half the class comes in the morning, half the class comes in the afternoon, but the only thing is the kids have to wear a mask for 4 hours straight. You feel good about that?
No. I don't think children should be subjected to a mask. I don't think children under the age of 10 or 12.
Okay.
At 10 or 12, they're mature enough to be able to take it on and off, to take their own breaks and breaths. Under that age, I don't think they're mentally equipped to know when is too much and when is not. Therefore, I don't think the mask is effective for school children under the age of between 10 and 12. But more importantly, I think if the caregivers have their mask on and the caregivers are doing their part, the children amongst themselves will develop some level of herd immunity, especially within their bubble or classrooms. I am not sending Alexa back to school with the mask. Alexa has asthma, and the mask actually triggers her asthma. So I've been given a letter from her pediatrician stating that she is not to wear the mask. So I am against it right now in my situation, but I wear it and I don't breathe on children and I keep my germs to myself.
Well, I can tell you this. if your daughter, I'm sure she is, anywhere near as beautiful as you, I wouldn't want her wearing a mask either. My daughters are gorgeous, both of them, and I don't want them covering their beautiful faces with a mask. So I'm with you. I don't think the kids should be wearing masks. But thank you, Zen. Everyone is looking forward to hopefully seeing you in person again very soon.
I'm going to make it work next Wednesday. I will make my way to Staten Island. We will do it up. And we will put Frankie into it.
You're the bomb. All right, that's Zen Sam's model, actress, super mom, and one of our great regular Wednesday contributors. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back with some news of the day. And we're going to tear it up right here on Liquid Lunch after this. Welcome back, folks. I've been taking my makeup off every day with the coronavirus wipes. I'm still corona free.
Didn't even wipe your fake tan off.
Well, that's because that's not a fake tan. That's a real tan.
For more Liquid Lunch, head over to YouTube, do a search for Liquid Lunch TV, and hit that subscribe button.
Welcome back. You're watching Liquid Lunch on Biz TV. I'm John Tobacco. Just breezing through the first hour here. Zen Sam's kicked it off for us. And now I want to break down some news of the day. Dow, as we come into this top of the hour here at 26,465, up 86 on the day. And I hate to say I told you so, but 2 days ago on Monday, I told you if Bitcoin closed above 9,300, it breaks through 10,300. It's going on a rocket shot to the 11s and possibly the teens. Bitcoin is 11,200, okay? Up 2,000 points in the last 3 days, okay? And for those of you keeping score at home, 2,000 points on a $9,000 number is just about 25%, okay? Just right in there. So I think Bitcoin, if you ask me, goes to 15,000 very shortly, and I'll tell you why. And I keep trying to break it down. You know, the network wants me to impart more of my financial and capital markets wisdom on our audience. I like doing that. I like talking to people and hoping you learn something from it. But let me tell you this. I have a little something I want to show you here. GFX8, all right? Fed's meeting today. There's a Fed meeting. They're going to be talking about interest rates and more stimulus and expanding the government's balance sheet. Now, the Fed, the Federal Reserve, is in charge of interest rate policy and monetary policy, all this other good stuff, right? The U.S. dollar has fallen 2.6% since the last Fed meeting in June and is down a staggering 8.8% since the central bank started aggressively expanding its balance sheet, which currently sits at $7 trillion in late March. So, you know, coming back to Bitcoin, you have the Federal Reserve, our, government monitor for monetary and fiscal policy. They're expanding the balance sheet. Expanding the balance sheet is shorthand for printing more money. That's what they're doing. They're expanding the balance sheet. They're printing money that's backed by nothing. And what happens is when there's more dollars going into circulation because the Fed is printing money, the actual dollar itself loses value. It's actually not worth a dollar. You don't see it like that because prices of goods are more expensive because $1 doesn't buy you a White Claw anymore. And a White Claw, these things are a ripoff. They're like $18 a case or something for 6 of them. So they're like $3 a piece. But on individual items, a dollar bottle of water may cost you $1.25 now. It's not that big because it's only down 8.8%. So it really costs you $1.10 when you factor in all the other products you may buy. So with the dollar tanking, it's not a strong dollar. It works for us on the global scale because commodities, oil, gas, all that other stuff, trades on the global markets. They're priced in dollars, so weak dollar lets people buy more commodities. So it's good for commodity pricing. But on the other side of the coin, the weaker the dollar gets, it decreases your purchasing power, and Bitcoin is going up. And Bitcoin is not expanding their balance sheet. In fact, they're retracting their balance sheet. They're shrinking their balance sheet because they're giving out less Bitcoin. Every so often, they cut the amount of Bitcoin that's being produced, and instead of diluting it more, they're actually diluting it less. So it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. I keep my eye on it. Bitcoin at 11,200. Now, a few other things I want to cover in today's news. The report out of the U.S. Department of Agriculture, scary crap here. Supposedly the murder hornets were coming from China a few months ago. They called that off. But the USDA and agricultural officials now are saying that they're issuing warnings about unsolicited shipments of foreign seeds. They appear to originate in China. People across the country are even receiving these suspicious packages of seeds. And the government is urging you, do not plant seeds from unknown origins. Invasive species wreak havoc on the environment. They could destroy native plants and insects. Take steps to. The Kentucky State Agricultural Department was notified residents received these unsolicited seeds, and these seeds are unknown and could be harmful. We don't know what they are. We cannot risk any harm whatsoever. So beware the demon seeds. If you get a pack of seeds in the mail, throw them in the garbage. Put them right outside your house in the garbage can. You'll be a lot safer. Another thing I wanted to point out, I like to get some viewer feedback in there and all that other stuff, but my cousin Mike lives down in Florida, and he's had his own demon seeds over the years with many different addictions, and he's quite open about it, and he's been fighting hard about it. And we all been praying for him, but sometimes they got to really help themselves. And I do want to say congrats to my cousin Mike Pratt. 3 years in recovery, good, working, living the right life. And he said, don't faint or have a heart attack. 3 years sober today. If you don't believe in miracles, I'm one. Thank God. Amen. So God bless you, cousin Mike, and keep on the good path. Just wanted to point that out. And also, Governor Cuomo here. Now, I mean, this guy is so far out of hand. He is literally acting like he's the king, and we're a bunch of plebes and peasants beneath him. Okay, there's not, we're not the bourgeois class. You're not a king. You were elected. King Cuomo III is not a thing. You're a governor of a state, and you're really, really disrespecting the will of the people. Because when you sit there and want to pontificate about how, well, restaurants can't serve drinks unless someone buys food and all, businesses are dying, okay? And, oh, by the way, 19 years ago, thousands of Americans, mostly New Yorkers, died on 9/11. And for you to make an exception in New York for MTV to come in and hold an award ceremony, which is so nonsensical, King Cuomo allowing the MTV Music Awards to go on in New York City on 8/30, August 30th. But 10 days later, the family of 9/11 victims cannot speak at the memorial ceremony. What is happening here? This is like the one moment, everybody remembers their loved ones, but this is the one moment that our city stands still and remembers those two gross moments when the planes hit the buildings and has a moment of silence and the city stops. Everybody thinks about those people, their loved ones, but all people that were sacrificed. And praise for the family members of them that are still there. And the family members want to go down and commemorate that moment and see the other family members. It's a support system. And to let the MTV Music Awards go on for a bunch of felons, gratuitously giving themselves gold awards when you got New Yorkers who lost their loved ones, it's absolutely sickening. And not that Mayor Big Bird Warren Wilhelm is going to do anything to change Cuomo's mind, but we can. So there's a petition out there. I'm going to spread the word on what it is, but we got to change his mind on this. If we can do one thing, this would be a good one. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back with the Queen of Bail Bonds, talk about prison and bail reform. Right after this, Michelle Esquenazi is going to be here. Hey, all right, welcome back. We're just zipping through the first hour here of a Liquid Lunch. It's a Woman Wednesday Liquid Lunch, my favorite day of the week because, quite frankly, a recent poll said that 65% of the households in America, the women make the final decision on money matters. They basically control the purse strings. The husbands usually go out and work and get a few dollars allowance in their pocket, but the women make the big decisions. So the women perspective is quite important to me, and women live longer. Women are actually the majority on the planet now. There's actually more women than men on the planet. Women are healthier, women are more organized. So I have women all the time, power women. But on Wednesday, I try to load it up with the woman's perspective to try to talk some sense into the portion of our audience that identifies as male today. Now, one thing that Frankie and I have been talking about on Liquid Lunch for over a year now is bail reform. New York did it terribly. They left no discretion to the judges. New Jersey did it a little better, but still. And the one expert we always leaned on to give us the real rubber meets the road analysis of what's happening was my next guest, who is known around the country and the world as the bail bond queen, the queen of bail bonds, but she's also CEO and founder of Empire Bail Bonds and the president of the National Association of Bail Agents. Michelle Esquenazi is with us. And Michelle, I've had financial experts on, I've had market experts, I have political experts. No one has been more on point with their commentary than you on bail reform. And you were saying when it was being proposed, not because your business could get hurt, this is the worst thing ever because recidivism is bad already. You were seeing the same people. But now with no cash bail, these people just have no incentive to stop committing crimes. And now it's on display for all of us. What do you say? Other than I told you so, what do you say?
Well, there's two things that I want to be clear about. The first thing out of the gate is that New Jersey did not do it better. The Republican Party should be very embarrassed that Chris Christie sold out the citizens of the state of New Jersey and that New Jersey is publicly taxpayer funding the criminal release system. So that's thing one. And then thing two, something that you said at the beginning, John, you were talking about moms, and you were saying how we control the purse strings. And, I'm a mother of four. So I'm a mother of four before I'm the bail bond queen or anything else in life, right?
Of course.
So, yeah, of course. So, the thing about it is, and I could just make this very Brooklyn simple for everybody, John. I could some bail reform.
No cursing.
Like that. No cursing. Boom, boom, like that. You want to know how? They took the decision-making, the government took the decision-making away from the moms, the grandmothers, and the aunties. We run the households. Normally, us single mothers, sometimes we have to work 2 and 3 jobs to get our kids through. And the fact of the matter is, when little Johnny used to go to jail before bail reform, it was me as auntie that got to decide, well, he did this 3 times. Now he's going to sit on Rikers Island for 72 hours and let him think about what he did before I even take his next phone call. So now what they've decided is the government gets to make the decision of who gets out of jail.
So let me just ask you on that point, because that's a great point. And it's a great point for Woman Wednesday. And you started a business as a woman, which, back when you started, you were handicapped in many ways, right? You're a single mom, you were a domestic violence survivor, and to start a business and succeed, you had all the odds against you. But now that you're in the business, you rose to the level of queen. Obviously, the queen runs the household. What percentage would you say, when little Johnny does get in trouble, what percentage of people that come down to bail him out, put up their house, put up money, put up jewelry, what percentage is the moms and the aunts and the grandmas, and what percent is the dads?
I would say 80-20.
You would say it's 80% the female that's there to make some deal?
100%.
And the fathers, if they're around, they're like, let them sit there for a little while. And it's the matriarch of the family that's usually coming down saying, Michelle, you got to help me out here. You got to get this kid out. I don't want him to go to Rikers. Or saying, you know what, Michelle, let him sit there and sweat it for a few days before he gets out of there. Is that right?
Right. It's the matriarch or the matriarch junior. You know what I mean? It's the sister calling for mom because mom is an RN and she's doing her second shift at Coney Island Hospital.
Right. So let me ask you this. In New York, we had a guy a few months back that robbed a bank. He got arrested. He didn't have a weapon on him. He made believe he had a weapon. They gave him the money. He got out. He got caught. He went out. They threw him in, released, went back out, robbed another bank, got caught again, threw him in, got out again. They interviewed him, and he said, I can't even believe they let me out. This system is great. I mean, the criminals are cracking up laughing.
Listen, the fact of the matter is I didn't make up criminal recidivists. It was a population that existed long before you and I ever existed, John. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the fact of the matter is that they actually exist. However, the left wants to cover them up with flowery language and different branding. I mean, that's on their PR firms. But the fact of the matter is they actually do exist. They're a population of humans that exist on the earth. And obviously, they are running amok.
Yeah, no, it sure looks that way. Now, let's get to the even bigger news. Browsing my way through the internet, doing some research, homework, this, that, and the other thing. And all of a sudden on my feed pops up this Forbes article. And Forbes is, as you know, it's, the magazine for the rich and famous. And there's a whole story about the bail bonds queen, how this founder became a driving force in the bail bond industry. And I'm thinking, just from the headline, wait a minute, they better mention Michelle's name in this. And then I see the picture, I'm like, I know that hair anywhere. Holy cow, Forbes wrote an article about Michelle. She really hit the big time. How does that happen? They seek you out because, I guess you've risen to such a level now that, and you've been on the money with bail reform, and you're like now looked at as a national expert.
Well, and I appreciate that. There was a writer from Forbes that had reached out to me before COVID. I did this interview in all honesty. And I guess, she was waiting to drop it at the right time. And she did. And, listen, I'm abundantly grateful because I am that girl. Listen, I'm a domestic violence survivor. I was on welfare. I had 2.5 children because my son was in my belly. Now I have 4, thank God. Later on, I had another one in life, but, and she's wonderful. But, the fact of the matter is just, women, like you said at the opening of your show, and I think it's so poignant on Women Wednesday, we as women, and from being Italian American, that I'm Cuban American, we are patrona. We do run the house. We can not only make the dinner, but, we somehow make sure all the bills are paid. Everybody got their doctor's appointments. Everybody got their inoculations. You know what I'm saying? So we always are that type of running force. And I always say, listen, a lot of us pray to Christ, including me. And you know what? If it weren't for the Virgin Mother, we wouldn't have Jesus Christ either.
Yeah. Look, I'm totally with you. I was, raised by some great parents, and we had a great matriarch in my dad, but, my mom was still running the household. So my father, like you said, he was working 2 jobs, 3 jobs. My mother worked. She was a private investigator at one point. But, we have that. But just on the last thing, with this whole Black Lives Matter, on that point, with this whole Black Lives Matter, Michelle, you probably work with more black people than anyone because minorities, unfortunately, dominate the criminal justice system. But if I said to you in a sentence, hey, Michelle, Black Lives Matter, me and you would sit there and say, damn right they matter, or every life matters. But this group has hijacked a sentence and made it a truism, and it's really a front for Marxists. And one of the things they want to do is pointed right at what you were saying. They want to break up the nuclear family because they want to eliminate individualism. And honestly, most of the black folks that I know, my friends that are black and minorities, they don't agree with the movement Black Lives Matter. They agree with the saying. Everyone agrees with it. Do you see this as another attack on the family unit?
Well, I definitely do, John. The fact of the matter is it's not just Black Lives Matter. Brown, polka dotted, rainbow, and yellow and green lives matter. We all matter. The That's a crock of shit that only one cup. Sorry.
You see, you promised me. You know what? I think you were talking about your boat. I didn't realize it was an actual ship. But I mean, it is a ship, isn't it? But
it's a big ship. It's a yacht, as a matter of fact.
We're out of time. We gotta leave it there. You are the bomb. Thank you so much.
I love you.
You're the best.
I'm sorry.
Nah, you're the best. She's the president of the National Association of Bail Agents. She's the CEO and founder of Empire Bail Bonds. And all I can say is we had her first before she was big time. I love you, Michelle. Thank you.
Love you too.
See you
Say
soon.
hi to Frankie.
She was always big time. But we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back with more Liquid Lunch right after this. All right, welcome back. You're watching a Women Wednesday edition of Liquid Lunch. I'm John Tobacco. We're coming to you from the Corona Bunker Studios in my house still. I could tell you this, before this whole Corona quarantine crap started, we were really getting it going in our Manhattan studios, and we were getting the best guests in studio with us. I'm getting a little separation anxiety from all the people that we used to have in the studio. But they're starting to come back to us slowly. Now, if you're keto-rific, which many of you are, some of you are in moderate ketosis, some of you are in heavy ketosis, but in any event, if you're keto-rific and you want to eat so much delicious food that you get to heavy keto, you want to check out freshyfair.com. And one of the people that was on with us right before this quarantine started is its founder, Christy Lombardo, joins us right now. Hey, Chris, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I mean, you were with us in the studio just before this whole quarantine thing happened, and you brought us down some delicious keto treats, and I think some collagen treats, and some of the stuff was vegan. Everything's gluten. It was like a bonanza of healthiness, and it was also delicious. The first thing I want to ask you is, we're focused on, the women's perspective on Wednesday primarily, and you started this company yourself from scratch. A lot of businesses fail in their first year without a quarantine, and it seems like during the quarantine, you've actually expanded the offering. How is the company doing throughout this, crazy pandemic?
It's doing okay. I mean, it could do better, but we have a lot going on here. We've been doing different things to try to branch out a little more. Like we came up with a new chocolate chip keto cookie during this. We've been playing with our packaging, so we're trying to do what we can with where we're at. So pretty much. Got it.
I'm constantly encouraging my friends to not play with their packaging. You know what I mean? It's not a good thing for guys primarily, but you're talking about the food packaging.
Yeah.
I know we have some photos. You can't bring us food in person because you're not with us, but Nico, let's see some of the great new snacks that Freshy Fair has. Now, I'm looking at here, Freshy Fair. Oh, these are cookies. Oh, the new packaging looks wonderful. They're like a silver bag, and now I know you said you have some peanut butter cups. I love Reese's peanut butter cups. How the peanut butter cups are? They're vegan. You said
vegan too. Those are vegan. Everything's gluten free, but the peanut butter cups are vegan, and the almond creams are vegan.
So I have been reluctant to get any, foreign substances injected into my face, like Botoxes or collagen or anything like that. But somehow I can get some of that same stuff from your food?
Yes, we have a few different options when it comes to the collagen. We have a Captain cookie, which is a chocolate chip cookie with oats, has collagen in it. Our keto butter cookie has collagen in it. Our C2 shot, which is also available in a lollipop of lips. It's a big chocolate set of lips on a stick, or in a syringe we have it, or in a pouch. And one also has CBD in it. So that all has collagen in it.
Wow. So I can get a chocolate that has CBD and collagen in it in the same candy?
Yes, it's a pouch, and you squeeze it out, so you can keep it in your bag. If you want something sweet, you could just squeeze it out. It has collagen and CBD. We have one with CBD and one without.
So I have in the past bought these like collagen face masks. You know, you put them on at night, and they have like the eye holes cut out. You know what I'm talking about.
Yep, I've tried it.
You can't see me, I know, on your screen right now, but obviously to no avail. The collagen face mask didn't do much for me. But is there any benefit to potentially rubbing the collagen chocolate on your face? Will it go in that way?
You could also, you know what? It comes in a squeeze pouch or a service. You can try it. You can totally try it.
I gotta let you know about that. More importantly, you're a good sport, and we like to have a little fun on Liquid Lunch. But we just had Michelle Esquenazi on. She's a single mom. She was a domestic violence survivor. She went on to start a bail bonds business, which you would think that's like crazy for a woman to start. And now she's the president of the National Association of Bail Bondsmen. What motivated you as a woman entrepreneur to try to start a business from scratch? And what tips can you give women out there saying, I can't do it, maybe, I'm never going to get ahead? What can you tell people?
Well, I always loved working out and eating healthy, and I couldn't find any kind of protein bar or anything. I hated the way everything tasted, so I created my own. I wanted fresh stuff that I wouldn't feel bad about eating. And, it's not easy to own a business, especially yourself, but you have to be resilient. That's probably the best advice I can give anyone. You have in your circle of friends, if you use them as your sounding board, stuff like that too. But resilience is definitely the best thing I could tell anybody to have when they're trying to do this.
Well, I would imagine that if you don't have a steel will and a tremendous amount of perseverance, starting a business and staying focused on growing it in a pandemic when we're locked in the house and you can't go out, and it must grate on you, but it seems like, you've turned that around into a positive and came out with, souped up packaging, more products. So you're actually finding, some positives here in the pandemic.
Oh, totally. We were doing free shipping, free local delivery, contactless, of course. We did some giveaways to the hospitals and stuff like that. You just have to do in the times, like what you can do with where you are. That's always what I say.
You guys out there, you got to go check out freshyfair.com, all the delicious treats. And we got to get you down here, at least to the studio one of these days soon, and bring us some snacks.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. That's Christy Lombardo, the founder of freshyfair.com. Thank you very much, Christy. Thank you for staying tuned, but do not go anywhere. News of the day, Amy Bursa is going to be here a little later on, and Karen Turk wraps it up right here on Liquid Lunch. 5, 4, 3, 2. All right, welcome back. Lots to talk about here in the second hour. We are blowing you up today with power women, okay? And you got people like Michelle Esquenazi, who started her business years ago with all kinds of barriers and hurdles in front of her. She's risen to be, literally, she's known as the queen of bail bonds. Her company, Empire Bail Bonds, is one of the biggest in New Jersey, and she's also the president of a national association. You got other guests like Christy Lombardo, who's just starting a business, getting it off the ground, found something that she didn't see in the marketplace, and instead of sitting there and complaining and grousing about it, she went out and did something about it, and she's growing her business in the pandemic. And, our next guest that's coming up right after this, Amy Bursa, her and Corey Wendell-Specht, who's been on the show many times before, started Three Paws Kitchen, which is, a healthy, high-quality pet food company, and they started it right before the quarantine, too. So lots of tips, tricks of the trades, things you want to learn, but, women seem to have a good handle on this. I got guy friends all around me who were sitting there whining and complaining, my job sucks, I'm working from home, I hate it, I can't start nothing new now, we're in a pandemic. And you see women out there, boom, 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 pounding the pavement, and that's what we try to bring you on Wednesday. The women, the power women, the alpha chicks that get things done. And speaking of power women and alpha chicks, I love the guests that we get on this show. Like, I become friends with them. We don't just bring them in for a 2-minute talk, and I text them. We talk all the time. And my worlds collided in politics yesterday with two of my favorite Woman Wednesday guests. And I'm scrolling through my phone on, Instagram or one of these things, la, 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 la. And all of a sudden I stop, like, what is this? And I see a photo on Instagram of none other than Fog City Midge, one of our regular weekly contributors, and Erin Elmore. Erin Elmore is the new chairperson of USA Strong, non-political, non-partisan organization fighting to advocate to bring jobs here back from China. And both Midge and Erin, two power chicks, regulars on the show, somehow or another, they're hanging out together in Washington, D.C. at this big conference of doctors who were telling the truth about things. And I was not shocked to see Erin and Midge in a photo, because it makes sense that somehow or another they would gravitate to each other. But I was shocked that they didn't even let me know about it. I mean, what about Uncle JT? I mean, I try to get them on whenever I can. I love having them on. I begged them to come on. And I guess they didn't want to invite me to the doctor's conference. I don't know. Something like that. But no, they're two of my favorite guests. And Midge has co-hosted the show with me. Erin has co-hosted the show with me, the whole entire show. Two great friends. And it's great to see two great patriots like that meet up. And those two forces brought together, I said it to them yesterday in a text. I said, God bless the snowflake that gets on the wrong side of these two, because you're going to wind up in a hospital probably, because these are two tough alpha chicks, and they're great patriots. They love our president, and they're truth tellers, and that's why we have the best women guests on this show. Dow is doing okay now as we get through, kick off this the second hour here, and the Dow's up 100 at 26,480, so it's hanging in that 26,000 range, and Bitcoin's still on fire, 11,250, and I told you yesterday that we could see Bitcoin in the teens, like 13, 14, 15 by the end of this week, with a good little squeeze here, and I think it's happening right before your eyes. Stay tuned, because coming up right after this is another power woman with a great new business, and we'll hear how she got started and how it's going in the pandemic. Right after this, we'll have Amy Burser, the founder of Three Paws Kitchen, right after this. Alrighty, welcome back. We're just getting our way through hour two here on a Woman Wednesday edition of Liquid Lunch on Biz TV. I'm John Tobacco. We are coming to you live as we do every day, noon to 2, and we are kicking it real today, a whopper of a Woman Wednesday, might I add. Michelle Esquenazi, the bail bond queen, was with us, and Christy Lombardo was just with us from Freshy Fair, where they make some delicious keto, collagen, and vegan gluten-free treats. And we talked about how she got that kicked off just before quarantine, how things are going now. And another great friend of ours joins us right now. Amy Burser is with us. She's quite the celebrity in her own right, and she's a model, actress, all this other stuff. But more importantly right now, focusing on her work as the founder of Three Paws Kitchen and Pet Nutrition. Amy, thank you for joining us from the lake. I see you brought a little pet with you also, which is nice. So tell us a little bit about Three Paws. I know I spoke to you and Corey about it, and you guys were just kind of testing it out, getting things going, finding new recipes, and then all of a sudden, pandemic hit. I know. But what made you start Three Paws Kitchen in the first place?
Well, we started Three Paws Kitchen after both of our dogs had gotten sick. Lucy here, she was diagnosed with cancer 4 years ago and had to have her leg amputated. And our other dog, Pike, had pancreatitis, and he was throwing up on a near daily basis. So we took a look into what's actually in the food that we're feeding them. And it's actually horrifying what's in commercial pet food. So I became a pet nutritionist, and we developed recipes with other leading pet nutritionists and came up with a great recipe that both our dogs love, because our one dog is insanely picky. And now we have Three Paws Kitchen pet food. We have a gluten-free chicken pasta recipe, and we have a beef stew recipe. And we've also launched into quarantine. It's been crazy, but it's got us baking. I've been baking, which is so weird. I'm like turning into like a domesticated person.
Wow. That's not I never heard of dog baking before, but I mean, hey, it's definitely original. So let me ask you this, because maybe, I know there's a lot of dog lovers. We had Carla Marino on last week. She's the founder of the Near and Far Animal Rescue, and we know there's a lot of dog lovers pet lovers that watch the show. But just so people maybe think a little more about giving their pet something real healthy, like you guys make at Three Paws, what are some of the disgusting things that you find in traditional dog food?
Oh my God. Like the companies, it's all self-regulated by the big like dog food companies. So they make the rules on what they can put in dog food, and they're legally allowed to put so many carcinogens in these dog foods. And they can get their meats from anywhere, and they don't really need to disclose where they're coming from. So they can take dead and rotting farm animals, like all the parts of meats from the plants that, are like the cutoffs that we won't eat. Those get scraped up off the floor, and those get put in dog food. It's all byproducts and fillers and things that aren't really species appropriate, like corn and just things that you just wouldn't eat yourself.
Yeah, so one of the things, I mean, I'm not a great dog whisperer. My kids have a dog. He loves me. I love him. I know how to pet dogs when I first see them, so they leave me alone. But I have personally have a real issue with a dog's nose touching my skin anywhere. I don't know. It's like a Howie Mandel phobia to get that wet moisture nose on my hand. I get skeeved out about it. But I love dogs. But I read somewhere that the byproducts from chickens, like the beaks and the feet and the claws, are grinded up into like powder and used as chicken in dog food. Is that true? Yeah.
Yeah, you have to be like an insane person to be able to comprehend these dog food labels, because it's all in the writing, and they get really creative with like the legal writing of it. Like if a package says like with chicken, that doesn't even mean that there needs to be chicken in the food. Like they only have maybe 3% out of the whole bag is made out of actual chicken. It could be fillers like corn and rice and all these other like things. But even like it'll say beef flavor, it's just flavored like beef. It's not actually beef in the food you're feeding your dog. So that's why we wound up developing these recipes, because I personally, vet bills are expensive. And I'm very fortunate that I have pet insurance and was able to take care of Lucy and have her surgery done. But I don't know, if I didn't have insurance, I don't know what I would have done, because it was upwards of $10,000 to get her leg amputated. Wow. And it kind of makes you think that if I had been feeding her good, nutritious food all along, would have this have happened? Now,
my buddy and your longtime companion, Corey, is the host of the quickly growing Basic Seltzer Show. Are you guys working on any hard seltzers or anything that the dogs might be able to drink, or that's out of bounds?
Well, I don't know what you're talking about.
No, I don't know. I know some people, I've heard, some people are using different types of things when they want the dog to be a little calmer, to tranquilize them, like they sprinkle a little CBD in their food. Can you sprinkle a little hard seltzer in there? Does that work or no?
Alcohol's not actually good for pets, but I actually have been tossing around the idea of doing a recipe with CBD. I've been using CBD now with Lucy for her back legs and her joints because she's getting a little bit older. And it actually seems to be helping her. So it's kind of something that we're going to expand and look into in the future.
I've been hearing about that. So let me ask you this. You're one of the first women in your field. Oh, look at the boxes are beautiful too. I didn't see that new packaging. We have a picture of a box with the doggy popping out of it. But you're one of the first women in your field, and you know I asked you to come on because it's Women Wednesday, and I like to highlight the perspective of women. I feel like women are more organized, women are more determined in a lot of instances. Men are like alpha. Like if they can't slam the square peg in the round hole after 3 slugs, then they go on to the next square peg, and women kind of stay on path. How did you? I know you were starting this right before the pandemic. How have you kept the business focused and actually growing new products during the pandemic?
Well, it really made us think and take a look at the way our business was working and what people's lives were like during the pandemic. We were all home, and I was, basically my acting work all dried up. So I was like, I don't have a steady income coming in. So I needed to rethink the way the business was run and make a few more products that were a little more accessible to more people. Like we now have a trial pack, and we have our topper plan, which is like, you don't have to sign up for a monthly. You can just go on, and it's 14 packs of our dog food, whichever flavor you choose. Ooh. And it's just one set price, and you can buy it as you need it and use it as you choose. You can either feed your dog a full meal with it, or you could just use it and mix it in with our dry dog food and use it how you choose. And it's a little bit more cost effective for people. So
I'm looking at a photo here of, it looks like 2 milk bones with some peanut butter in between and some chocolate drizzlings on top. It reminds me of like Vienna fingers, the little cookies. What are those that I'm looking at?
Yes. Well, I was telling you, we started baking, and I started doing cakes. So ever since I got Lucy, I've been one of those dog moms that I celebrate her birthday. And even more so now that she's a cancer survivor, I figure every year we get with her is a celebration. So I started making cakes, and they came out super cute because they're tie-dyed. And we also do a line of treats now because the commercial dog treats there's nothing good in them for your dogs. And the shelf life, they can last from now till eternity. So we started making really healthy treats with all human grade stuff in it. Like there's whole wheat flour, there's peanut butter, there's chicken stock. Like
I'm a big cookie freak. Those looked edible for me. Like, are those human edible too, or no?
You mentioned that, but we actually have another one that's bacon and cheddar biscuit, and I actually had to keep like swatting Corey out of the kitchen because he kept trying to eat all the treats on me.
All right, we got to wrap it up. Is Corey your cameraman today?
He is. That's why it's a little like shaky.
I was gonna say, from what I understand, you're the primary camera person for the Basic Seltzer Show, Corey's Seltzer Show.
I never get any credit.
Right, and I'm telling you, you're steady, like you're steady Eddie, even rocking in a boat. This guy, we gotta work on it. We gotta work on camera. He's great, but we gotta work on his camera skills.
I know. I'm working on teaching him. I'm trying to get him to be able to take photos first, and then we'll move on to videos.
All right.
One step at a time.
All right. That's Amy Burser, and my buddy Corey Windelspecht is on the camera today. Amy's the founder of Three Paws Kitchen. You got to check it out if you want some healthy foods that'll keep your dog happy and nutritionally complete. Amy, thank you so much. We got to have you on again soon.
Yes, definitely. It was great.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Talk to you soon. That's Amy Burser and Corey behind the camera. Quick break. News of the day right after this.
For more Liquid Lunch, head over to YouTube, do a search for Liquid Lunch TV, and hit that subscribe button.
All right, welcome back. Got an open segment here, and first and foremost, these open segments I love because I get to talk to you about all the stuff that I want to talk about, and I take a lot of feedback from our audience. So send me any feedback. I love the interactivity. If you could, we're monitoring the Facebook at all times, and if you could, drop us a comment in there and tell me this. Here's my question for today. If you could give me a comment on this. Do you think the main thing for women in this year's presidential election is security? Okay, just drop me a yes or no. And the question is security the top issue for women this year? Because that's what a lot of women are telling me. On Women Wednesday, I'm talking about the women's topics. And, I will say this. We have been getting a tremendous amount of feedback when I rip the manhole cover off and go down the rabbit hole. And I'm talking about Pizzagate. And for those of you who don't know what Pizzagate is, it's this vast conspiracy that's getting a lot more traction, and there's a lot of evidence popping up around it that it's true. And there are more and more questions around everyone who is at least an arm's length within Jeffrey Epstein and the whole circle of the Clinton cartel seems to mysteriously die of odd causes. They fall off a bridge, they jump off a building, they hang themselves. And the ring of death around Jeffrey Epstein just keeps getting bigger, okay? And I think it's Monday, a whole bunch of stuff that's been under seal from the Jeffrey Epstein civil lawsuit from Ms. Giuffre. I think all of that stuff is going to be unsealed. The actual flight logs, there's been a lot of stuff out there that the flight log, this person's on it, that person's on it. The actual flight logs and other information will be released by the court in the next week unless something comes from above. But like, a guy like Isaac Cappy, who was just, a regular go-along Hollywood actor, good second role guy, real good character actor. He started acting up and talking out about how, he got lured into this pedophile ring and he's fingered people. And suddenly the guy fell off a bridge in front of a truck. It was odd. But, I wonder how big this story gets. We talked about last week how there's a whole bunch of anecdotal evidence out there, people citing Justin Bieber speaking at his Bible study class about being lured into a room where they were doing an exsanguination ceremony where they had a dead kid on the floor and they were draining its blood and drinking it. Strange crap. But in the same token, Justin Bieber has not taken any legal action to get these posts taken down. So until I see something like that, I got to believe some part of it is true, because if I was as famous as him and I had all his money and someone put that out there about me, it wasn't true, I'd have my lawyers swarming him in 2 seconds. Get that down. I didn't say that. Don't aggravate all the music industry executives by making up stories about me. He's not doing that. So it's kind of, feeding me to want to talk about this topic a little more. And as we get into that, there's a lot of conspiracy theory out there that Ellen is part of this cabal, the famous Ellen DeGeneres. And there's a story out there now that there's a big investigation going on the Ellen show. She's currently under internal investigation by Warner Media for a toxic work environment. Allegations have gone public. A memo was sent out to the show staffers last week that they're using a third party to conduct interviews. And it says here, Eric Schiffer, the chairman of Reputation Management, weighed in on the results, how they could have deadly consequences for Ellen and her brand. Now, I found that interesting because if Ellen is actually part of this whole Epstein Island thing, and it's alleged that she visited Epstein Island and flew on his plane, and if you do a side-by-side between the picture of the temple on Epstein Island and Ellen's set, they look identical. And when this guy Eric Schiffer says this could have deadly consequences for Ellen, I think if Ellen is part of this whole thing and she starts opening her mouth, that could have deadly consequences for her, because everyone near Jeffrey Epstein seems to mysteriously die. Someone said that Ellen's been silent on the matter, but She's been arrogant in her approach to dealing with the allegations. It's all happened under her leadership. And in Hollywood, the buck stops at the star's name on the door. And it would be impossible for her to not know what was going on with her staff. She said the statement explains that the day-to-day responsibility of the show is completely on the producers. So Ellen's trying to pass the buck on this one. And it seems like there's a spiral of things going on around everybody that happened to be notably mentioned in the Epstein flight logs or visitors to Epstein Island. And on another note, you know, a lot of people in the conspiracy theory, the Q, the awakening, you know, where one goes, all that other stuff, the waga. Tom Hanks is mentioned in there a lot, and he's one of probably the biggest actors of all time. But oddly enough, both he and Rita Wilson announced just yesterday that they both have become Greek citizens. So, and they were shown on Facebook waving around their Greek passports. So, you know, some of the key alleged conspirators in this whole Hollywood elitist cult of Jeffrey Epstein and friends, some of the key people mentioned in there, you know, Oprah's mentioned in there sometimes, Jay-Z's been mentioned in there, Kevin Spacey, Ellen, Tom Hanks. Looks like Ellen could be losing her show, and that could be a cover because they know other things are happening. And Tom Hanks, who's often mentioned as a part of this cabal, he's suddenly changed his citizenship to, he's now a Greek citizen. And I don't know what the extradition policy we have with Greece is. I'm going to look into that. But if Tom Hanks was so sure that Joe Biden was going to win, I would think he'd be hanging around. He wouldn't be stamping his passport to move to Athens. So, you know, we'll keep you posted on all of that. Jess, what are the other great stories today? Anything else that we need to talk about? You were going to hit me with like 5 pop culture stories every day or something. Not today? No, she's shaking her head. Nico's back, and he's healthy. He's feeling good again. Late, of course, after 2 days off, but you know, that's growing pains. It's a maturity thing, but doing a fantastic job. Great show we have put together for you today, but Jess has been moved down a notch back to you know, assistant producer, and Ava's been bumped into the back. My daughter Ava's now just back to a little old intern, but we should have had Ava and Jess running the show today on Woman Wednesday. We should give Nico off on Wednesdays maybe, or you know, let him just be on air with me or something else, and let the ladies run the show. That would probably be a great day. But all right, big tech CEOs are at an antitrust hearing down in Washington. I'll cover that a little later on, because there is a lot to talk about there. But right now, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back with Karen Turk, former Mrs. Florida, activist and political commentator of Behind the Headlines on YouTube. And we're going to go even deeper down the rabbit hole with Karen Turk right after this. All right, welcome back. You know, we're just whipping through 2 hours of Liquid Lunch today. And on Women Wednesday, we highlight the women's perspective like nobody else on television. That does not mean we don't have women every day, because we have the best women every single day. Power chicks, top-notch executives, entrepreneurs. We got it all. Philanthropists, models, actors, women in the arts, all that crap. Okay? So, you know, Women Wednesday is a special day to me because, as I mentioned a little earlier, on the planet Earth, men are the minority. There's more women on Earth. If you look at any statistical evidence, women are healthier than men because they live longer. Women, 60% of the households in America, women control the purse strings. So there's a lot of reasons why us men, although we're Neanderthals and we don't want to admit it, we should probably take some hints from the women. And that's why me personally, you know, I got a great mom, I got great daughters, and, you know, women are an important part. So I like highlighting that. Now, when we get back to the politics, the stuff that I really love, we bring on another power woman. Karen Turk joins us right now. Karen, aside from being one of the best reporters out there and going behind the headlines on her great YouTube channel, she is, you might notice, a former Miss Florida. She's an activist, political commentator. Karen, thanks for joining us again. You're the bomb.
Always great to be here. I love spending Wednesday with you. No place I'd rather be.
It's great, and it's great to have you. Now, we have been getting some considerable success on the show by, not getting crazy with conspiracy theories, but, just trying to go one step at a time about facts that we can back up, with some Freedom of Information Act, a government document, and, this whole Pizzagate thing was kind of like, at first I thought it was crazy, and the mainstream media tricked people into thinking this was about a pizza parlor in Washington when it was really about the use of the word pizza, which the FBI points out as a search term for pedophiles looking for little girls. So Pizzagate means a lot more than a pizzeria. But this Jeffrey Epstein thing, anyone who's been around him, his former banker from Deutsche Bank committed suicide. His buddy, in part of the big mega donor Bing, he committed suicide. The judge who just took on the case looking into Jeffrey Epstein's connections to Deutsche Bank, her son got shot at her front door last week. So there's mounting evidence that everyone around Jeffrey Epstein dies. What else do you know? I know you go deep behind the headlines.
There's so much to this. And, I started watching this unfold years ago, being from Palm Beach and living down here in South Florida. This was a big story, even going back into the late 2000s. I mean, before, he was arrested the second time, before this broke, before he committed suicide. There was a lot to this. And I've been following this story since the beginning. And, there's a lot of twists and turns, but when it comes down to it, this is a really big pedophile network. It's a really big ring. And although they've put this focus strictly on Jeffrey Epstein, and of course, he's a horrible person, and, it turned out the way that it did, there's a lot more to this. And these people who are committing suicide and being murdered, it's just like the Clinton clan. There's a lot of people that die very mysteriously who happen to be connected to this. And I believe a lot of these people are probably people that would have been blackmailed by this ring, which, of course, the ringleader was Jeffrey Epstein. But there's a lot of people behind this, including someone that I believe is really the head of the snake here. And it's not Ghislaine Maxwell. As powerful as she was as a woman behind Jeffrey Epstein, there's actually a larger narrative at play.
No question about it. And, you refer to them as the Clinton clan. I refer to them as the Clinton cartel, because it just seems like they're always running some kind of ring. This Clinton Global Initiative was one of the biggest scams in history. It was just a way to funnel money to Bill Clinton when Hillary Clinton was the head of the State Department. And I don't know if you saw this show on Netflix, but it's called Operation Toussaint. And it's about did you see this? It's about.
I didn't see this. I did hear about it, though. I read a little bit about it.
Yeah, it's about a former Navy SEAL who just decided that he was going to get his retired Army buddies and go out there and try to track down and stop sex trafficking where they could. And these guys are like trained assassins and intelligence men. And it turns out they go on this mission to Haiti. And they're talking about, how bad sex trafficking and human trafficking is in Haiti. And it just turns out that the Clinton Global Initiative got so much money that they raised supposedly for Haiti. And it seems that it's a hotbed for child sex trafficking. So it seems like the connections never end with the cartel to me.
It's not just the cartel, and I mean, certainly they are part of this whole thing, but it's the globalist initiative in general. I believe that a lot of these globalists, these billionaire globalists, are completely out of touch with reality, and that goes for Bill Gates, it goes for George Soros, it goes for Jeffrey Epstein when he had the power that he had, and most certainly also the man that I believe is behind a lot of these Epstein scandal is Les Wexner. And Les Wexner is, was the head of Victoria's Secret. And you can put the ties in here again and again and again with how he was connected to these network, and the facts don't lie. And when you follow the trail, you realize that this was a much bigger thing than just Epstein having masseuses come to his Palm Beach mansion or, procuring girls in New York for himself. This was his billionaire friends. This was a globalist initiative. And these are the same people that again and again come up in all of these stories that I do on Behind the Headlines TV. Once you start to dig deep, you realize that a lot of these globalist billionaires, their agenda isn't aligned with, the freedom of the people or what's right with the people. In a lot of ways, it is a cartel itself.
So when you're talking about the global elites, we're talking about the Rothschilds, the Bilderbergs, the royal family is, Prince Andrew and others are kind of tangled up in this stuff. So on Behind the Headlines, and guys, if you're watching, we're doing great on YouTube. We're getting a lot more views. We're getting subscribers. But you got to go out and check out Behind the Headlines TV on YouTube because Karen Turk hits it hard. But it does seem like there are a lot of connections. Bill Gates, Anthony Fauci, Bill Gates' dad was friends with Anthony Fauci, George Soros. All these people seem to always come up. There's these odd, 6 degrees of 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon. They're all connected somehow. Is it like a billionaire cult, you think?
It's the 1 degree of the World Economic Forum, and every single one of these people attends that meeting in Davos. These are the people that really control, if you want to call it a shadow government, they control a shadow economy and a shadow government that is governed by a globalistic agenda. And they are really truly the ones that push the narrative in this country. The things that you see on the media and you see on the news, that's the message that the news wants you to hear. You have to go behind the headlines. That's why I started this show and really look at the facts. And the facts are out there, folks. The facts are there for you to research and to look at, or, watch alternative media like your show, John, or my show, and find other places to get your information outside of the mainstream media and outside of the big networks, because the big networks are controlled by advertising.
Yeah,
and guess who's buying that advertising? The globalists are buying that advertising, whether it's Microsoft or Victoria's Secret or any of these big businesses. Their advertising budgets are what calls the shots for these major networks. So do you really think that they're going to be fair when it comes to reporting against, their clients?
No, I mean, I don't think anyone on the major mainstream media channels reported that Hillary Clinton had a hearing about a month ago, and the judge ordered that she had to open herself up to a sworn deposition, and she's going to be deposed under oath on September 9th, which is big, and no one even mentioned it on any of the major news media. They don't want us to hear stuff. In our final minute, did you see this movie Out of Shadows?
Yeah.
There's some stuff in there that really explains to you how the government works with the major entertainment companies to program our minds. And I think people, as they're breezing through the channels, they think there's so many channels these days that, there's choice. But it really comes down to 3 companies that control all of those channels. They do not control.
Absolutely.
They do not control Behind the Headlines TV or Karen Turk. We're renegades, and she's one of the best out there. She's always with us on Wednesdays. And Karen, come join us again soon, please.
I look forward. I'll see you soon.
We'll see you soon. Karen Turk, Behind the Headlines TV on YouTube. You got to check it out. Quick break. Come back. Wrap it up right after this with the WTF. And if you could, throw in a comment, a like, hit something, subscribe, follow us on YouTube, Facebook, all that other stuff. Please do me a solid. Be right back. Welcome back, folks. I've been taking my makeup off every day with the coronavirus waves. I'm still corona free. All right, welcome back. I am having a cool, refreshing drink. I hope you're joining me. You need a drink with all the craziness going on in this world, but in the middle of a pandemic, just coming on the heels of an attempted impeachment of our president, just coming on the heels of the Russian collusion hoax, just coming on the heels of the indictment of General Flynn and Roger Stone, this president has gone through one thing after the next after the X, and he's still killing it. I mean, lining them up and knocking them down. Now, once in a while, I'm all for our president. I got this pen right here that I have on my desk all the time, all right? The guy's not always right. So, you know, let me just put it out there that I don't agree with how he sometimes goes 2 more levels that we don't need. And a lot of people are saying, I'm going to vote for him, but I wish he would just tone it down a little bit. And I agree with you. We need him to tone it down, but he got to where he is by not toning it down. So let's not lose sight of that, okay? One of the powerful things he did was get rid of this Momo, Jeff Sessions, who's now been relegated to exit stage left. His political career is over after losing to Tommy Tuberville. But our president is doing a great job. If you look at everything, wipe out the pandemic, our country is so much stronger since he's been our president, okay? One of the smart things he did to keep that power is replace Jeff Sessions with a real attorney general, okay? Attorney General Bob Barr is not a Trump loyalist. He wasn't a big Trump fan. He's worked for many other administrations, was one of the most respected men in Washington. And yesterday, these mutt Democrats, including Jabba the Hutt, Jerry Nadler looks like Jabba the Hutt, okay? They got the nerve in the middle of all kinds of riots and all kinds of unrest. They got the nerve to drag the AG in there for a photo op to sit there and smash him, okay? Watch the Attorney General here just swat each of them away like flies. Remember Godzilla when he was hanging off the Empire State Building, he's slamming the planes out of the air? Here's our Attorney General sticking up for our president and beating the crap out of all these liberal loons down in Washington yesterday.
Are you aware that the rector of the church, that the Episcopal Archbishop of Washington and the presiding bishop of the Episcopal Church nationally, along with the Catholic bishop of the Archdiocese of Washington, all denounced this police assault on the civil rights and civil liberties of the people?
Did they do that before or after the fire was put out?
So how can you sit here and tell us, why should I investigate the President of the United States, if you're not even aware of the facts concerning the President using the pardon or commutation power to swap the silence of a witness?
Because we require a reliable predicate before we open a criminal investigation.
Mr. Barr, if I
Yeah, but this is a hearing. I thought I was the one that was supposed to be heard.
Well,
I waited an hour for you this morning. I haven't had lunch. I'd like to take a 5-minute break.
Mr. Attorney General, we are almost finished. We're going to be finished in a few minutes. Otherwise, we can certainly take a break, but
You're real classy.
well, yeah. After this, if you still want, we'll have a break.
no.
But in fact, you have no evidence that foreign countries can successfully swear elections with counterfeit ballots, do you?
No, I don't, but I have common sense.
Body right here would rise up if they decided to go tonight and paint the Capitol building?
This body, I'm not sure.
Well, that's our Attorney General, and quite the bagpipe player as well, as you may have noted from that segment. But I am loath to even mention some of these filthy animal Democrats. They're not even humans, okay? One of my dad's great friends, Ronnie, was a football coach with him, and he used to get so mad at the kids on the field sometimes, and he would refer to them as you people, and he would say, you people, and he was so mad he couldn't come up, and he would say, you are not people. That's how mad he get. These people are not people. They're out there, programmed robots. Kill Trump, kill Trump, kill Trump. That's all they want to do. Anything they can do to hurt him or anyone around him, that's their only goal in life. They're not humans. They're not Americans. These people are not people. We're going to wrap it up right here. Susan Zucconi's watching. Janice is watching. Marianne. Janet Ruggiero is always watching for us. And I want to thank all my friends out there for tuning in every day on Biz TV. And I have to do a little public service announcement here. We're doing great. And our platform is something where truth can be told, voices can be heard. And the only way to get to a bigger audience with the voice that we have is to break through some of the algorithms. And the way you break through is you need interaction. So if you could, share our posts. Anytime you hear something you like, drop in a thumbs up, a smiley face, a heart. Anything helps. Every one of those things puts us in a position to bust through the AI that they protect. They don't let you get to a bigger audience until you hit some certain, metrics. So if you could help us out there, it means a lot. The question of the day is, do you think Trump will keep us safer? If you can just put in a yes, safer, or no, Biden, that's fine also. And, to end it up today, we usually do the WTF. I've been on a roll. I haven't made any mistakes recently. But, Nico, I think you caught one today you wanted to point out.
I caught one mistake, and there may have been a mistake at birth because either you had a twin sister or this is Jana Tobacco.
Well, that's me in the... That's me.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah, that's me in the identity challenge. And if you want to be a woman or identify as one, put up a black and white photo of yourself. That's what my daughter did for me. We're going to leave it there for today. Thanks for tuning in. Be back here tomorrow for a Thirsty Thursday edition of Liquid Lunch. Same bat time, same bat channel, more Liquid Lunch.